Welcome all of you to this program, this video program. Today's program is how to structure an online course or how to structure the online courses. All of you have seen in a formal system or in a school or in a university, a teacher comes, he or she teaches in the classroom with the help of few aides. All of us as students, we listen to it and the class is over maybe after 45 minutes or maybe after 1 hour. But these days, many of you, rather all of us, we are watching YouTubes. Those are the video programs. We want to do certain courses which are online. Why we have online courses? Because of the revolution which has come in the information and communication technologies. So it's not only in education. I am sure all of you buy your vegetables online, you buy certain other things online. So many sectors, the online thing, the revolution in the technology has come to it. Now education is not far away, and many times, many institutions, they are developing, they are offering online courses. Like if we see International, Stanford, MIT, FutureLearn, they are offering courses which are curriculum based. Like FutureLearn, it's offering more courses. In India, NPTEL is offering number of courses through video and which are online courses. Have you taken any online course? Must be. So let's see how structuring of online courses is done, which is entirely different from what a formal learning or what a formal course is all about. So after watching this video, you will be able to firstly differentiate between standalone online courses and the blended courses. Secondly, you will be able to state the major points to develop online courses. And lastly, after watching this video, you will be able to describe the parameters to structure the online courses. All of us we know, and the literature also shows, that the learning environment is changing a lot in the 21st century. Why? Because the learners are changing. You have already experienced, and I just given an example, that whenever you get a homework or whenever you have a problem, whether it is academic, whether it is personal, all of us, we go to internet and try to find out the solutions, try to complete our assignments, try to do our project work, which maybe certain things are available in the textbooks, reference books, but we go to the internet and find out. So the learners are changing in the 21st century. The learning is also changing in the 21st century, and hence the whole learning environment is changing in the 21st century. Now, this is a traditional classroom. All of us we have seen, we have gone through it, but the present day learning looks something like this. Here, if you see in the picture, a student, one learner learning online or through internet or through a computer, and in the second picture you see a group of learners, they are learning through peer and along with the computer. So the whole learning from the traditional classroom, it's slowly changing. Now, what are these online courses? Some of these courses, if we say, they are called standalone courses, and the example of these standalone courses are the MOOC courses. All of you know, maybe some of you have also undertaken a course from Coursera or a course from Khan Academy or a course from edX or even NPTEL courses. So these are called standalone online courses where the print is not there. It's only through the computer, through internet, we are learning. But there are certain courses which are called the blended courses, where there is an element of face-to-face along with the online courses. Now, the question is, how do we develop online courses? Very important 3-4 points, we keep it in mind. Firstly, it is the institutional philosophy, where and how to develop an online course. Second important point which an institution and organization has to keep it in mind is the type of learners we are trying to reach through online courses, or the type of learners we are trying to teach or reach through online courses. The third is the type of the subject which we are teaching through online. And lastly, it is the type of resources available to you to any organization. So these are few important points which we have to keep it in mind while we develop online courses. Let's see one by one. Institutional philosophy. Institutional philosophy is very important when we want to launch any online course. The institutional beliefs, the institutional values, whether they want to have those online courses, whether it will be successful, those online courses. So that's very important point, and that is the beginning point of what we say when we want to launch or offer an online course. Second point is the type of learners which will be coming to your online courses. There are independent learners, there can be learners at remote places, and lastly there are some working learners. So what do we mean by type of learners? The institution has to think about it, that are we catering to independent learners? Are these online courses going to the places where there are maybe no institutions, where there are no schools, where there are no colleges or the universities? That's why we are offering an online course. And lastly, the working learners, those who cannot come to a formal system. A, due to the age, because once, like if you are in an working situation and if you are age of 40 plus, 35 plus, you are working. You cannot leave your job and you cannot come to an organization or an institution to gain your further education. So online courses are very important for such type of learners. The third point before you offer an online course is one should see, the institutions should see the type of the subject which is being offered through online. Need to think, can all subjects be taught online? A big question mark. So the institution again has to find out whether all subjects can be taught through online. The point which we want to highlight here is that certain subjects emphasize on the content, and certain subjects they have more of the skill component. Now let's see a subject, let's give an example. We have certain subjects like history, geography, any science subject, civics, or so on and so forth. So here the more is on the content which can be learned through online. Certain courses, certain subjects like let's say architecture, let's say fashion designing, where there are lot of skill component, then is standalone online courses relevant, or it has to be a blended. The next point which I want to highlight on the type of resources. that what are the resources available to us before launching the online course to an organization. First is the faculty members. Do you think that all the faculty members are very clear, or they are very open, or where they are they know about how to design an online course? They can of course learn it, but we need to find out whether we have the capability, the faculty members in any organization have the capability to launch the online courses. The teamwork is required, which maybe will come later. Second important point, the resource is the time. Time is a very important resource which any organization has to see before launching an online course or a program, because it's not easy. It requires a lot of time to develop, design and launch an online course. Many times faculty members can say there is no time. The working hours are limited. The workload is more. So you need to see that time factor in designing and developing an online course. Third type of resource is the choice of learning management system. I am sure many of you know that what is a learning management system. These online courses are developed, if you are aware of the learning management system Moodle, which is an open software. Many organizations, they are using Blackboard as a learning management system, which is a proprietary software which costs a lot of money. So the choice of learning management system is important point when we have to decide what the resources we have. If you see many online courses, if you search those online courses, many institutions, they have developed their own learning management system. They have adapted the existing learning management system. So those are the points which we need to understand when we design or we want to offer an online course. Next part of this video, now you will see then how to make the changes. Once we have decided, any organization, any institution has decided that they will be launching an online course, then how do you do it? We need to have certain changes. What are those changes? The first important point is, like in a classroom situation, you have to decide the instructional design. So in this also, you have to decide, you have to do a formal or an informal analysis prior to the course design. And that's the part of the instructional design. And if we say the ADDIE model, which the first component or the first phrase was the analysis part of it. Before you design an online course, do an analysis. It can be a formal analysis or it can be an informal analysis. That why do you need this course? Why do you need this course especially for online designing? Who are your learners? Who will be taking this course? Whether technology is available to the learners, and there are many more other points. So the first important point is to decide an online course is the instructional design. Second is your course objectives. Course objectives can be for a teacher. Course objective can be for the learners. So for a teacher, what will be the course objectives? First point is your course content and the structure. The second important point for the teacher to decide or to find it out, what are the different teaching strategies? The next is for the teacher, what assessment procedures which will be incorporated into an online course. So these are the few points which a teacher needs to understand when he or she is framing the course objective for an online course. Second, it's very important for the learner also to find out what are the objectives. So he or she will find it out that what are the expectations from the course, what to do, and how will they be assessed. So if you see the teacher's course objective on one side and the learner's course objectives on the other side, this should be available on the very first day to the teacher as well as for the learner. And secondly, those who are developing this course. Especially I'm talking about here on the online courses. Coming to the next important aspect is what instructional activities which you will be included when you develop an online course. So instructional activities should be, what kind of instructional activities should be? Firstly, which should engage students in active learning. In a classroom, if you see in a formal setup, in a school or in university, in higher education, the teacher is teaching students whether they are actively involved or not, we don't know. At times it is true, at times it may not be. But in an online course, in designing those activities, you have to see that the students, they are engaged in this active learning. So what you have to do is design your learning activities which engages them. Second important point is the learning style of the different learners. And the last is again the active participation. Many times we have seen the learners or the students, they don't do the learning activities when they are enrolled in any online course. So one has to see how actively they are participating in the online course, what sort of activities are given. The second important point in the instructional activities is that the content should be sequenced. Many a times, not always, but many a times in a formal classroom, we can deviate from the content. But in online courses, can we do that? So here the information should be in an online course chunked, and which is based on the principles of Skinner's theory of learning. So I am sure which you have heard about program learning materials or program learning courses. That's very important. So what do is you chunk smaller content, or it has to be a large frame. The next point related to the learning activities is should encourage interaction. In a classroom, if you say the teacher encourages the students, he or she maybe gives little prompts to if the student is not able to answer a question. So there is a lot of interaction in between, the students to students, teacher to student. But here in an online course, how do you build into that interaction? It can be through email, and you have to do it. It is not a question of can be, it has to be through email, through social chat rooms, through phone conferencing, collaborative projects, wikis, blogs, instant messages, and so on. All of you know there are several such social Web 2.0 technologies which we need to incorporate before we think of designing an online courses. I have put this copyright issue on this slide itself, but it is a very important point which we need, the developers of online courses need to see. Many points we cannot just take it from others and just put it, because it becomes in a public domain, the online courses. So if someone has copied it out, it can be a big copyright issue. In a classroom, one should not do it, but maybe at times we can say something which is others' property. But once it goes in a video or in an online course, copyright issue is a very, very important point which we need to see, the developers need to find it out. Next point now is the teaching strategies. If we say it should be learner-centered, it should not be teacher-centered, it should be learner-centered. Second point we have already discussed, that's it has to be an active learning, because the teacher is not there in an online course, the student gets demotivated and then they just leave their course. So lots of activities are there inbuilt into an online course. So that's very important. Here not only the learners, they have to learn the technology, the teacher, the online instructor has also to learn the technology. So I'm sure you will see online course development is not an easy task. Next point is the course management. So you have to plan during the design and the development. Another very important component when we see the instructional design model, that is the ADDIE model. Next point is the time requirement, which little bit I touched on earlier. First is complete design prior to the delivery. Many a times, just because we are in a hurry, just because we want to launch an online course, we don't give a complete design document. Secondly, it requires instructor time more. You have to continuously sending emails to your learners because they are in touch with you. So what it is? It requires time. Students' time also increases, because if the instructor has given an assignment or a discussion, so the learner has to immediately go and respond to that. You have to build online learning community, which we have already discussed. You have to create and promote atmosphere of sharing. Instructional media is also very important, where you have to present the information. Your multimedia development is very important, like whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it is animation, whether it is another format, you have to have very clear understanding of what media will be. Next is the information presentation. It has to flow in a logical manner. It has to shorten lines. It has to be in a linear structure. On an online program, you have to leave white spaces to increase pages, and so on and so forth. So your presentation, how you are presenting the information, is very, very important for your online course development. Next is the interface design. In print material, you must have seen certain signposts. Even in online programs, you have to have clearly set the signpost. You have to clearly indicate the links. Many times we give the links, see this video, read this PDF file, and so on. So those are called the interface designs, and which is very important. The whole color of the text, the whole typeface of the text is very important, which impacts your learning. Last is the teamwork. If we say online program, only one person can do it, no. It requires a teamwork. It requires a subject matter expert. It requires an instructional designer. It requires a graphic designer. It requires a media producer. Each one of them, they have their own role before you launch an online course, and it requires a lot of collaboration, a lot of concentration. Coming to the end of this program, what did we learn? What did you learn? Firstly, learners and learning is changing in the 21st century. Secondly, online courses, they are either standalone or they are blended courses. Third, planning of online courses require course objectives, instructional activities, teaching strategy, course management, and information presentation. So, online courses is not an easy task to develop. It requires a lot of efforts. It requires a lot of collaboration. It requires a lot of efficiency. I hope you will realize if you go and do an online course now, or if you are already doing an online course. Wish you a very happy learning.